following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whatever time of day you're listening. Welcome to the program that we call Ask Claire along the Comfortably Zoned Network. And this program I want to dedicate to the founder of the network, my friend Ralph Tycho. And my name is Claire Hall, and my guest today, Mr. Edward Biggar. His friends call him Eddie, but a lot of people know him as the Weedman. So how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you.
Well, you know, in this program, we've been doing it for a few months now along the way, and I love the fact that Ralph, the founder of the network, said, I want you to do a program and you can talk about anything you want, just find interesting people to talk with. And, you know, you and I have become friends during our time together here in Lincoln County, and I think you have really become kind of a fixture in Lincoln County. And before I have you tell your story, I just want to let people know, I think it's important that they understand Oregon is one of the majority of states where medical use of cannabis is legal, but also, you know, has joined a small but now growing number of states where recreational cannabis is legal as well. And so you have kind of leapt to local fame here along the beautiful Oregon coast that we both call home as the Weedman. And let me describe your, you know, this is one of the times I really wish that this was TV instead of radio, but picture
the nice thing, you know what?
Go ahead.
Claire, right now we've got Dean Sawyer, Newport, City Newport Mayor's watching right now.
Oh,
we're doing a live Facebook.
Well, hello, Mayor-elect Sawyer. You know, right after the first of the year, you know, Dean is a good man. He's been on Newport City Council for many years and moves up to mayor come January. So, hi, Dean.
Yep.
And you know, this is one time though I really wish this was TV, but think of a handsome man, you know, wearing a suit that's designed to catch your eye, black background covered with green leaves, the marijuana plant, and
cannabis
plant, and you know, you have worked. You know, not, you know, people they might say you're a sign twirler, but you're so much more than that. You are truly a street entertainer. I mean, you dance, and your exuberance, your joy for your work really comes through. And so, you know, to the point where people all over Oregon, I've seen this on social media, they say, oh, I'm coming to Newport, but I got to be sure and meet the Weedman, get a selfie with the Weedman. I got to see this guy in action.
That's been kind of the thing, Claire. People like to come stop and get a picture with me. They're like, oh, man, we're from Idaho, or we're from Texas, or, you know, we heard about some crazy guy dancing in a marijuana suit, and I always say cannabis.
Yes.
And we got to get a picture. And there's been folks from India, Australia, UK. One lady came from Brazil. She came up, gave me a big hug and a kiss. She's in her 70s. Her granddaughter, she translated for us, and she loved the suit.
That is so cool. So, you know, for the folks listening, I mean, how long have you been the Weedman, and how did the whole gig come about?
Well, let's see, Claire. I've been the Weedman for going on, it was 3 years. I started back in October. I was dancing on the corner as a dancing joint. And, remember that? And
I
the
do
city.
now. Yep.
Yeah, because I drove by, I was delivering pizzas for a place called, Pizza Me, a now defunct pizza place in, Toledo. Well, I saw this guy out there dancing, and I said, you know what? I want that job. So I went in there and I asked him, I says, hey, how do I get that guy's job? And I got give them my number, got their information. That night I received a call, and they says, come in tomorrow, and bam, they put me right to work. I danced in that for a few months, and then the Oregon, the people that ran the cannabis industry then was OMMP, and so an Oregon Health, OHA, whatever, advisor person came and said, hey, you can't wear that suit anymore. There's been too many complaints from the city.
Seriously?
So, so then I asked him, I says, well, do you think I could make a sign? What if I made me a sign? And then just went out there and spun the sign around, showed the sign. Could I still work? And the management said, make a sign. So I made a sign that said med rec, so medical recreational. And I went out there to dance, and I just wore my church clothes. And I love to wear a tie, a suit and tie. I like to dress up. So I thought, well, I'll go out there. And up in the office was a cannabis suit hanging up. And it wasn't the one that I wear now. It's the one that was in my first video. I got off the streets. If you go on YouTube and you look up, it would be Captain Money going green. But then now it's all on my website, goweedman.com. You can see it. It's called Going Green with Captain Money, and I'm out there in my old suit with a plastic green hat, and anyways, yeah, I figured, I'll grab this cannabis suit, and I'm out there dancing, and it just kind of went crazy from there. I thought to myself, well, it sure would be neat if I could get on the radio, do a radio show. So the Lord sent me the Boss Radio.
Oh, yeah, Cheryl Harrell, Boss Radio, yep.
Yep, Cheryl Harrell came up to me and says, hey, do you want to do a radio show? So then we did a radio show for like a couple of years, and then I thought, it'd be really neat if I could get my own merchandise and make Weedman T-shirts. So then went to Idea Printers, and then it went from there. So now we have Weedman T-shirts and hoodies. I've coined a phrase, smoke weed, not speed. And a lot of people bought those. Still got a few. When the eclipse came, I did some Weedman Eclipse T-shirts. I only had 50 or 25 made, and they're all gone. They're out the door. And then I thought to myself, wow, it sure would be neat if I could be in the newspaper. And I stood there and I just prayed on my corner, and every day I just go to work every day and keep doing it, And sure enough, the people from the news, what is it?
Is it the Newport News Times?
No, sir. No, Cheryl. What was it? I'm at a loss. The one, Statesman's Journal.
Oh,
so I was on
the Salem paper. I was on,
yeah, Salem paper. The Statesman's Journal came by and got a picture with me, or of me on the corner, and it was called The Oregon Cannabis Coast Lights Up. And I was on the front page of the Statesman's Journal, July 31st, 2017 issue. It was also a USA Today special report that went nationwide. So if you Google Newport Weedman or Newport Cannabis Medicine Weedman, you'll get all like I was in papers in Texas. I was in the Seattle Times. That picture went nationwide and all across the world.
That is amazing. I mean, that the way that you have created the character of the Weedman and made him really famous around the world. I mean, this could be a textbook example of how to be a successful marketer, and yet you don't have any real training or background in this. It sounds like, right, that you pretty much did it all by instinct and power of prayer.
I asked the Lord, just guide me. I'm Catholic. I'm on my knees every morning. I smudge. I pray. At 3:00, I'm out there praying. Before I used to use alcohol and drugs. I don't do that anymore, Claire. I've got 4 years, 7 months, no alcohol. I don't even take sacrament in church.
Oh wow.
I don't. In mass, I just take the body, not the blood. And
okay.
I used to do meth. I used to do cocaine, heroin. I'm not perfect. I slipped a couple years ago doing meth. It was like three years ago. Lost my second or third wife, and I didn't want to feel. And that's the one thing I've learned, Claire, is that when we do other drugs, put other substances, and even cannabis, people want to try to use cannabis so that they don't have to feel emotionally. That's what I've learned. That's what I have learned is the wrong thing to do. Because, I mean, I remember being angry one time and I tried to smoke it away with cannabis. And it didn't work. It made it worse.
Oh, wow. Wow. So that's something people may be wondering about from hearing the direction of this conversation. Since you're promoting the product, do you use it? And it sounds like you believe that it's okay to use it, but to use it in the right way for the right reasons. Is that fair to say?
Yes, exactly. I work on using I do like a high THC sometime, but it's not good for my arthritis. So I have to use I choose to use a lower THC instead of for my arthritis. I'll tell you, if you want to use it for the wrong reasons, if you want to use it just to see how high you can get, or how stupid you could be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been there, done that, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm curious. One thing I'd like to do, Claire, is I'm an aspiring television producer. You can watch any of my television content on YouTube under Newport Weedman.
Okay.
Hi, Jerry. Hi, Karen. Yeah, you can look that up on YouTube under Newport Weedman. And actually, I think we just got the show when you came on the show week before last or last week. Yeah, I think that I talked to my guy. He's got it downloaded today, I believe.
Great.
So you can see that show, and I've been very blessed. I remember, a nice lady, Kathy from Diamonds by the Sea. She,
I know Kathy. Yeah.
She was the director of, she was the director, and she came by and told me, says, Eddie, you got the part. I didn't know that I would get to be in a play. A friend of mine was going to a play, and he wanted me there for moral support so he could audition for this play. And I went, and I ended up auditioning myself. So then I got a part as an ancestor.
Wow.
And as the ancestor, I got to be Herb Adams. And City of Newport actually made me a suit with cannabis leaves on it to be Herb Adams.
Wow. That's great. And speaking of your wardrobe of suits, people who haven't been to the Oregon coast, I think, should know that we've got a very mild climate here. If it's below 45 degrees or above 70 degrees, it's, it's something that most people aren't used to. So, another suit that you have that we haven't seen nearly as often as what I think of as your main suit, but instead of long pants, shorts, and also sleeveless, but basically the same kind of look as your everyday suit.
Yeah,
so,
I just had it cut. I had it altered, cut it down. I used my oldest three. I actually own three of these. I own three of the Cannabis suits, and one of the one from you can get them from Walmart. You can actually get a Cannabis suit from Walmart.
Wow. And when I made the slip once of calling it a marijuana suit, and that you kindly but firmly corrected me to say cannabis, why? Help people understand, maybe, who haven't experienced this. Maybe they're in one of the states where there's limited or no legal availability of cannabis. Why is it important for folks in the industry that it be called cannabis rather than marijuana?
Well, because marijuana is a derogatory. If you can look that up, a lot of people think, or people say that they use that as a way to put the Hispanic people down, the Latinos, a way to put the black man down. They used to say back in the 30s it was a black thing, it was a black man's drug, and they tried to stigmify it, put a bad stigmata on it. And, what we're doing now in the industry is that we want people to know that it's a medicine, that it truly is a medicine and not just some weed to get high. And yeah, I am the weed man, and I get the shock value going, but I gotta say, I sincerely believe in its medicinal properties, because where else can you get a plant that goes to all of your receptors? We have so many receptors in our body for cannabis. There's over 400 receptors in our bodies for cannabis. And
people want to learn about that. Would it be good for them, to just Google endocannabinoid system? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes, if you go on YouTube, you look up endocannabinoid system, and it'll tell you all about our endocannabinoid system. There, I actually put a few videos on Facebook, and I tagged you in those too, Claire.
Yes. Okay, great. And so, I have just heard some stories, and I'm sure you're more familiar with this than I am, but people getting relief from all kinds of things. I mean, anywhere from arthritis pain to insomnia to nausea that comes with chemotherapy. Just the potential medical uses are, it just seems to me it's amazing. And unlike so many things that come from the pharmaceutical industry that have, really potentially horrific side effects that,
right.
You just don't get that with use
no,
of
you
cannabis.
Don't. And the reason being that is because there's no terrible side effects, is because cannabis affects it doesn't affect our heart or our brain, like our brainstem, because you can die on too much alcohol, you can die on too much heroin, you can die on too much meth, because those things go to those receptors. And the reason cannabis doesn't kill you is because we have no receptors in our brain, in our brainstem like that, in our heart and our lungs to shut them down.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. Yeah, it's just really a shame as I've watched this evolve in Oregon over really 20 years, I think, from the first vote to legalize medical use of cannabis to today, that we tried alcohol prohibition in this country, and that only lasted about a dozen years before people realized it was a huge mistake and undid it. It took longer with cannabis prohibition, but I'm surprised the number of people I find, that I say, well, do you know that until the 1930s, cannabis was not illegal, and it blows a lot of people away, and now we're hopefully one thing we discussed on the TV program last time I was there, the fact that the new farm bill that was passed by Congress, and I believe the president is going to sign, it removes hemp from the list of controlled substances. And, hemp doesn't have the medicinal properties of cannabis.
Oh, no,
but
it does.
Oh, it does?
It does, because hemp is high in CBD.
Oh, okay.
And that's where we're getting.
Okay.
Right. It has, the people that I'm working around and with now, they get cannabis or get CBD products from a place in Oregon.
Yeah.
That's actually doing it. Let's see.
Yeah, so it is so huge, it is so important. I mean, I hope that passing this law on hemp is going to help move us towards saner attitudes. Another thing that has to happen, and one of our members of Congress from Oregon, Earl Blumenauer, has been one of the real leaders in this, is to change the federal banking laws, because right now the one, I remember as legalization came to Oregon, some of the things naysayers were saying, oh, you can't have dispensaries in communities. It's going to bring all kinds of problems, all kinds of crime. Well,
yeah, right.
That I've ever heard about is because, unfortunately, because of backward federal banking laws, that dispensaries have to operate basically on a cash-only basis, and unfortunately, few unscrupulous people will take advantage of the fact that they know that these businesses are liable to have large amounts of cash on the premises, but change that law, and I think you would see what little crime is associated with dispensaries just go away. Don't you?
Right.
Oh, you okay, my friend? You sound
I ran to my car to get. I ran to my car to get my charger.
Oh, okay. So you can keep the live stream going, huh?
Yes.
Aha.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
Reed says my sound isn't good. How's that, Reed? Is my sound any better?
Yeah, I would say a little better on this end, but I haven't had trouble hearing you all along the way. So, I see you as, many things, my friend. I mean, we haven't even talked about, because I don't think you talk it up too much, but I would sure like to acknowledge the fact that you're a humanitarian. You are somebody I've come to know who deeply cares about people, that you have used your fame now to raise money for hungry people in our community, homeless people. I think you're like me, that you feel like because some good things have been given to you that by the world, that you have an obligation to give back.
I have to pass it on. I agree, yes. There's so much in life that doesn't cost money. But money, if you don't have it, there is a cost. Because, you can't eat if you don't have money. If you don't have somebody that cares, you don't have a place to live. I just saw, so when people would give me money out there, Claire, I'd say, well, I get paid by the establishment, and I really get paid when people go by and they honk or they holler or they smile and they wave. That's the biggest payday. But then an even bigger payday is when I get people that give me money, and then I can take that money and I can hand it to the soup kitchen. That makes me feel so good. There's nothing like that feeling that can replace that feeling of having something and giving it to someone. Yeah. And yes, it's extra, though there's times that people wouldn't give me money, and I still go in the soup kitchens and give them money. Probably in the time that I was in Newport, I'd say I was going close to $900 that I gave away, that people gave me.
Wow.
And people would know, and we gave that to Calvary Baptist, to Jonah's Whale, to the Warming Shelter, to the also Radiant Church or Reliant Church. I think it's Reliant. Radiant.
It's Radiant.
And and Tracy, she's the one that does the
warming.
She's the one that does the Warming Shelter, and she does the what is it called? The Grace Winds. She does the day warming shelter, and she's working really hard to keep the homeless and hungry in a nice place inside the fairgrounds at night.
Yep.
Well, and I've got a rabbit suit too, so I like to dress my friends up in a rabbit suit and go in there, and I do that in the rabbit suit, and it's like to I'd say, I don't know, to entertain the troops, we call it. And go in there and make people smile, because when you're sitting in a place and maybe you're lost, you've never been there before, you don't know anybody, it's nice to have someone in there like to make you smile.
Oh yeah, and that is such a gift. Yeah, I mean, you want to, when people are in a difficult situation like that, you want to give them food and a roof over their head and a warm place to lay their head at night, but you also got to give them hope, let them know that people care, that means so much to people, just knowing that other human beings haven't forgotten about them, and that's a wonderful gift in itself as well. Well,
make them smile.
We got a couple of minutes left, Eddie Weedman, my friend. So, is there anything that I haven't asked about that you'd really like people to know about yourself, about your gig as the Weedman, or about the value of cannabis in our society? Anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to mention?
Well, I would like to mention that I'm now in Lincoln City.
Right.
I'm out in front of the Nell Scott Mercantile. I'm very happy. I'm working with some great people in unison with Cat in the Bag coffee shop and Renee's herb store. She has herbs and recreational and medical cannabis. Also, hang on. Also, that if anybody's got if anybody's got any food or clothing or anything that they want to donate, they can get a hold of me at 541-272-2691. We'll make sure it goes to the appropriate places. I believe here in Renee's we're going to have a food barrel. for people to fill up. I'm hoping I'm going to talk to Lincoln County here in a minute after we get off the horn here and see if they'll deliver one. Cause, just cause you got a lot doesn't mean you can't give some of it away or give, folks in the Bible, they give it all away.
Amen. Amen.
Who's the one that gives the most? Some guy that's rich and he gives little side money that he's extra money, or the little lady that has but $1 and she gives the whole $1.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The widow's mite. That is one of the stories from the New Testament that has really stuck with me through the years.
Yes.
Oh, my friend.
Real quick, I would like to say I've got a couple of sponsors. Roba Gump Smoking Fish Company. They're going to start. They're sponsoring me to go back and forth to the television show. If anybody wants to watch or listen on CCTV channel 23. Comcast, Salem, Oregon, where we do a live show for the mercycenter.org, Mercy Centers of Oregon, and that's at 7 p.m. on channel 23. There's a call-in phone number. It's 503-588-6444. And like I said, if you go to YouTube and you look up Newport Weedman, then you will see you'll see the shows, and you can also get the number to call in. But one thing I want to say, main thing, is if you're using cannabis out there, guys, please, safety first. Think before you smoke. Think before you act. Think before, you take even CBD. Now, CBD doesn't have THC in it, but some people will take a CBD and it'll make you tired.
Right.
So it depends. Lisa Buckingham is thanking us on Facebook Live, says, thank you, Ed and Claire. You're welcome, Lisa.
Well, yes, you're welcome, Lisa. Well, this has been great. We are running up against our time, but it's been a joy. Maybe we can do it again sometime. My guest on this edition of Ask Claire, my friend and cannabis ambassador, entertainer, humanitarian, and all-around great guy, Eddie Biggar, a.k.a. the Weedman. Thank you, Eddie, for a fun program and an educational one as well. So time for me to sign off. This is Claire Hall, and until next time, happy trails.